You're listening to Interactive Wrestling Radio, featuring the Interactive Interview, courtesy of WrestlingEpicenter.com.
I'm James Walsh, and as always by Daniel Edler with our special guest, Marty Jannetty. Marty, how you doing?
Good, man. How you guys doing out there?
Doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. It's really nice to have you on the program.
Oh, you know, rocking and rolling, strutting and strolling everywhere I can, from Austin, Boston, Maine, and Spain, and all points in between.
Cool.
Really appreciate taking the time out today to come on the show. What have you been doing recently that fans will be interested to know about?
Well, I went bowling last night, and I didn't do that well. I think I had to get some new shoes, and I kept falling down. I don't know if it had anything to do with anything else, or the girl next to me had some big boobs or something. But anyway, other than that kind of thing, we're messing around with some independent wrestling. I've been doing a lot of overseas stuff. In fact, I was over here in England, I think it was last year.
It was, yeah.
It did a tour there for a little bit, which I enjoyed. Man, I really did. I didn't want to come back home. I mean, I think I was there, close to 3 months, maybe 2 months, and I fell in love with it.
Mm.
But I've done a bunch over in Australia, and I haven't been in Japan lately. But yeah, little independent shows around the country here, and right now I'm involved. Am I talking too long?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
You're good.
Just let me know, because sometimes I get long-winded.
No, that's fine, and we like it that way.
Okay. But anyway, right now, Capital City Wrestling, we're based right out of Tallahassee, Florida. We're getting rolling, and it's, I think it's going to be one of the biggest promotions you're going to hear about in the next year or so. A lot of talent. Florida's is loaded with talent anyway.
Mm.
And we're getting a lot of it, and the guys got some good people backing them with this, and I'm really excited about it. We got some shows coming up. There's actually our 1-year anniversary show coming up here pretty soon, and we're really going to try to do a nice special. And we got a school here also called Body Slam University, which you can find, check out details on the website, which is ccwtallahassee.com.
Excellent.
I'll repeat that probably 400 times before we're done, if that's okay.
That's fine. And we'll also provide a link on the website, too.
Cool. And that's where I'm at right now. I'm really enjoying doing the school and helping this Capital City Wrestling get going.
Mm-hmm.
Just a couple of questions about that. First of all, you mentioned you haven't been to Japan recently. You've been over here in the UK. But what I don't know which way to phrase this. Whether to say what countries have you worked in, or what countries haven't you worked in the world?
Haven't?
Yeah.
I haven't been to China, and I don't think I've been to Antarctica. And I think that's about it. You know what's funny? I have been all over the place, and I mean all over the world, and every little corner. So right here next to where I'm from, right next to the United States, Mexico. I've never wrestled in Mexico.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know why it is. It just hasn't actually come up. I think we've talked about a couple of tours here and there, but I've never actually been over there.
Mm-hmm.
And
I would love to.
Yeah, sorry. The other question is from what you just mentioned. What kind of guys what kind of names can we look out for from this promotion you're involved in the future?
You're going to have Rod the Bod, who is his character is somewhat similar to Rick Rude's. God bless Rick Rude. He does the thing where he's got a great body. He goes out and he talks smack to the crowd. He's got a good-looking woman. Actually, where his is different, his woman walks out with him, and he holds the mirror up, almost similar to Shawn's old thing with Scary Sherry. Holds the mirror up for him to check himself out, and they're a real good item. He interacts with the crowds real well. I mean, he can really he entertains well. I mean, he pisses the crowd off when he needs to, wants to. He's like 1 year in the business, not quite a year, and he's really, you can tell he's got the knack for it. He's got what it takes. He's got the look, and he also is, he's connected. He knows how to work a crowd. I mean, he's almost a natural for it. Sort of like a Dusty Rhodes type thing, where it's just, he's absolutely natural. Not saying he's Dusty Rhodes, just saying like Dusty Rhodes has that natural knack for he can just turn a crowd on and off whenever he wants.
Well, obviously, as a trainer,
that's Rod the Bod. I mean, we have Blaze. His actual name is John Kopasaki. He's been around about 5 years. He was trained through the Malenko School, or if you've heard of Little Bear, Chief Little Bear, which he works for sometimes too. But Blaze has got some great technical skills. He has an extensive martial art background, and he incorporates it into his wrestling in just the right, I'd say, in the right ratio to make it work. It's not too much martial arts, and it's not too little. It's a nice blend. So he's really got a variation of something that's it's different. I mean, it's catchy. People really like his style. We've got a guy named the Juice, who's an Iowa boy. Came down here to Florida and got culture shock at first, and he's kind of taking a little break right now. Went back to Iowa to recoup and regroup and get it back together. But I think he has a great look. He's sort of he favors Raven, and when Raven was younger, and he has the braided hair. He has a he's probably 5'9", weighs about 220. I mean, he's stacked and packed. I mean, he's really built. And he's new to he's less than a year in the business, probably 6 months. And he's still learning. He probably more so than anybody I've mentioned has just the it factor as far as just visual, just the look alone. Rod has the Rod the Bod has that it factor also, but he's also got the mic skills. I don't think he has the it factor as much as the Juice does, which is, his name is Josh Sinkwitz, and I don't know how the heck he would spell Sinkwitz. It's about 400 letters. I've seen it written down on our phone bill here, and it's pretty long. But those are, and we have, I think you guys may have heard of Axis and Python, the Hellraisers. They've been around. They're I think one of the top tag teams in the nation, probably the top in the independent world, and if they were to jump in there with WWE, I think they would be immediately probably one of the top 2 or 3. We've got those guys that you're going to hear a lot about in the near future. Antonio Banks, I don't know if y'all have heard of him or not. He's probably been, I think he's been around for 3 years. He's done a lot of stuff in Puerto Rico. His style is almost, it looks like he's trying to do a spin-off of The Rock. But I don't think it's that. He just happens to have a look that's similar to The Rock. His physical features. He is an excellent worker. I had the pleasure to wrestle with him here at our last show, and man, I was impressed. I mean, I've been around, wrestled with quite a few guys, and he really impressed the hell out of me. He can talk. He's got the mic skills. He's got the body, and he can work. Those are 3 major things you need in this business. So I mean, he's definitely going to be there. And there's a stack more, but those right there, you definitely will be hearing of those in the very near future. That's a guarantee.
Of course, given of course you're training yourself and whatnot, and you're obviously a long-term veteran of business, who would you say on the independent scene at the moment would be among your top 3 tips for the future and top 3 talents?
As of right now, the ones that I've seen around, individuals or teams.
Individuals, from all across the country.
Team-wise, if y'all have heard of the Shane Twins, yes. and Axis and Python, which is called the Hellraisers, I've not seen any other teams out there as good as those 2. They're big boys. The Axis and Python are probably 6'4", 6'5" apiece, weighing about 275, 285. They're ripped. The Shane Twins, they've had several tryouts. Actually, I think Axis and Python had one, but Shane Twins had tryouts with WWE, WCW. Their bodies are sort of like the powerlifting look,
right?
And they were told they want them to get some abs, get a little more ripped up, and they bring them in. These guys they're huge. They're probably a little shorter, probably 6'2", twins, the same damn near identical builds. Of course they do have identical look. Great workers for guys that are 6'2", weighing 280, and just thick. I mean, and they can really move around the ring well.
Of course, the Shane twins were the Johnsons in TNA.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, that was quite a gimmick.
What kind of gimmick was that to give them?
Oh, that was quite.
What happened there?
I don't know. They must have pissed somebody off.
I think it was actually. I heard some things. I better keep my mouth shut, or I'll end up being the next Johnson.
Oh wow! So you mentioned before we got on the air that you guys are trying to get a TV deal. Are you talking about a local deal or something?
Yeah, we're looking at getting on one of the stations here locally in Tallahassee, and UPN generally carries a lot of independent wrestling, and we're talking with them, and we're talking with a couple other. We got a local access station around here who's very interested. So we got a few things working, and we're just looking at exactly how much sponsor money, which is always huge, that we're going to have to work with, and we're actually getting a lot more people interested than we expected. So it's a good problem to have. I think we within a month or so we're going to go ahead and line something up and go with one of these stations. And the Fox Network's the one we're looking at. Seems to be the one that's leading the way right now.
Excellent.
So, well, best of luck with that, definitely.
Yeah.
Kind of, a few of the fans have sent in questions, obviously, along the lines of your entire career. But one of the questions that I'm going to quickly throw in now, because, of course, you mentioned a second ago about touring and whatnot. But you mentioned the UK, and you mentioned, of course, you work for Brian Dixon and that. But you was over here, as you say, for 3 months. What are your highlights during your tenure over here?
I think the guys, the crew we had was an excellent crew. I'm looking for my program. I'll tell you who I was on that. Brian Dixon and his daughter who was helping run it at the time, and Scott Conway was involved with it. And everybody they had working with it were just excellent people. They treated me and the guys very well. I was very happy with everything there, and I enjoyed just the lifestyle over there in England. So it was a little more laid back than here, and I really enjoyed that. I'm not saying I don't like it here or anything like that, but I'm just saying it was the people there were so easygoing, and I really liked that. It was less. You didn't have to be on defense 24/7. You didn't have to worry about somebody jumping or browbeating you or looking to. And I know there are areas where you have that too. Like we visited a couple of them, but I mean, for the most part, the people were really just a friendly, laid-back kind that is so easy to fall in love with. And we did a lot of traveling too, so I got to see a lot of the countryside there, which was nice. But I think the whole all that together, all those ingredients swirled together, made it like one of the most interesting and enjoyable times of my career, the 2.5, 3 months that I was there.
Excellent. Now we're going to get into the more anal retentive chronological order part of our show. Is that okay with you?
Talk about Shawn?
No.
I didn't say that.
Oh boy, this is going to be fun.
Man, I was just playing. I just somebody else had said something like that on the interview I was doing, so I was just repeating it.
Oh, okay. The first question we have for you is very generic. Were you a wrestling fan growing up?
Yeah, I was. I was a fanatic, but I think I don't know any of us that around the 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old age wasn't watching wrestling somewhat Saturday mornings, and then as I got into high school, I wrestled in high school and college, and so we kept an eye on it in a different way, kind of like hey man, it's fun to watch anyway. We watched and Buzz Sawyer and Ric Flair and actually, Buzz Sawyer and Tommy Rich was the big feud at the time going, and so that tells you how long ago that was for y'all that remember that. But that was back when the TBS had gone nationwide, and so Georgia Championship Wrestling got the big exposure, And Tommy Wildfire Rich was the baby face of the year. And he had some matches, some knockdown dragouts with Buzz Sawyer, and you know, I really, you know, was hooked in at that time. Of course, a few years later, I got, you know, went ahead and got into it myself. To answer your question, I was a fan.
What actually made you decide that you wanted to get into it?
Well, I had to do something. It came to a point in my life where I had to make a decision. And just regular work wasn't, I don't know, I'm not very good at it. I actually went to college more on a wrestling scholarship, and more of my time at college was chasing girls and just for, you know, the enjoyment of the wrestling. I loved the wrestling. My goal was to eventually make the Olympic team, you know, which didn't happen, of course, but you know, it got to where in the Southeast where I was going to school, they were dropping their wrestling programs. They had this issue where they had to add a girl sport or drop a guy sport. And wrestling, you know, being a nonprofit or whatever, they were dropping, most of the schools in the Southeast were dropping that. So I ended up kind of out in nowhere land, and so I decided to try football one more round, and I did pretty good in high school with that. And actually got recruited, but my grades weren't the best, and there was one school for wrestling, so yeah, we'll admit you in here with these grades, but other places won't. So I went back and tried the football thing one more time, and that's when walking on at Troy State at that time was a rough thing to do. It wasn't going so well, and I had a couple of wrestling promoters had talked to me and mentioned the kind of money I could make, and money was kind of tight back then for me, and that's when I decided to, you know, let me go ahead and check it out.
Who actually trained you for wrestling?
A guy in my hometown named Jerry Oates. Jerry was he did fairly well for himself there in the Georgia area, and a good technical wrestler, and so I learned from him.
You originally made a name for yourself as part of the Uptown Boys with Tommy Rogers. Any memories of working with Tommy?
Yeah, that was interesting because that was right at the beginning of my career. Before they sent me, Jerry got me booked out in Kansas City. That was Harley Race and Bob Geigel, their territory. And there was, I was lucky enough that they wanted to do something with me right away. Rock and Roll Express was around at the time and doing well, and everybody was trying to, do a little takeoff of that as far as the tag team. So they asked, if Tommy and I would tag up, which we did. And they told us, okay, we're going to dress you up like this, which was very much like a Rock and Roll Express, but they called us the Uptown Boys. And, they wanted us to try to be similar to. They didn't never say that, but I mean, it was obvious that's what they were wanting us to be like.
With the name, the Uptown Boys, do you feel that name was ever like a play on the Beach, like on a Beach Boys song?
I didn't. I was just so happy to be in wrestling. I really didn't think much of the name, and until Billy Joel come up with some song about it. I forget how it was, Uptown Girls or something like that. So it made me feel a little better about it. But actually, I think he knocked the Uptown Boys in that song. So no, I was just so happy to be with wrestling. I didn't care. They could have called us the assholes.
Or the Johnsons.
Or whatever.
All right, you feuded, your first big feud was with Bulldog Bob Brown. Any memories of working with Bob?
Yeah, Bulldog was, I liked Bob. Bob had his ways. A lot of people didn't like him, but, a lot of times when that's the case, it's a case of a person not, they're being misunderstood. If their way is just, you got to take a little time to really get to understand it, and most people don't take the time for that kind of thing. It's not necessary. But Bulldog was a good guy. He just, like I said, he had his ways, and I learned a lot from him. Of course, that was my first major angle, and so I was, he'd been around 20 years at that point, 25 years. What he lacked in ability, athletic ability, he had the knowledge, and he was able to pass on to me at that level. The right amount that I could comprehend. I mean, you can only give somebody the first year in the business so much, but they'll understand, and he was able to do that. So, I was really thankful that he was there at that time.
One of the main questions that was submitted by a hell of a lot of readers was, how did you end up meeting and then obviously eventually teaming with Shawn Michaels?
Well, it was right there out of Kansas City. He was down in Texas wrestling. I think it was called Texas All-Star Wrestling. I may be wrong. But he had come up for a little run through there at what we would call the Central States. What is it called? It was NWA, Central States area.
Yes.
All-Star Wrestling it was called, I'm sorry. And he came through, and they tagged us up one night. This was after Tommy I think it had to split up and doing our own things. And Shawn come through, and they needed a tag match, threw us together, and we actually, from that very first match, clicked. At that point, we didn't really understand what that was all about. We just knew that, hey, we had a good match, man. That was really amazing. First time together, that was a good match. From there, a little time went by. We actually became pretty decent friends. We were hanging out and doing a lot of the same things, chasing women and partying, and so we got along well. But he ended up going back to Texas, and I ended up heading up to AWA, which was Vern Gagne, and they had ESPN TV, which was, that was a big break, first national TV exposure.
Right.
And when it went in, they'd asked about tagging up. They asked if there was anybody in particular I'd met that I would like to tag up with, and I said, well, yeah, this guy has Shawn Michaels, and right away we've heard a lot about him. Well, that works for us too then. And they called him up, brought him in, put us together, and tried to figure us out a name. And damn, if they didn't we ended up with Midnight Rockers, which pissed everybody off because it was, you had the Midnight Express and the Rock and Roll Express, and so we were the Midnight Rockers. It's like we ripped off both guys, both teams, and it wasn't our doing. It was Vern Gagne and his crew. It was trying to come up with something, but it ended up working out. I mean, the guys, once we met up with the guys and they understood it wasn't our fault.
Rick Clark, a very good friend of the show, submitted a question asking if Vern Gagne understood the word rocker. He had heard a story that Vern thought you guys were like mountain chippers or something.
Yeah, I think Shawn did a shoot interview where he explained that where Vern was not in touch with modern times. I don't think as far as what was hip, what was in, and all that, and the rocker thing. They had one time at first they wanted to call us they were like, well, let's go with something American. You guys are all American boys. Let's call y'all the American Express.
Huh.
And we're like, well, there's a credit card. You can't. You can't just call it a credit card. And they were like, he was like, well, what about something, the rock, somebody, and I think Greg or Shawn or one of them said, how about something rockers, Midnight Rockers, and Vern was like, rockers, are they going to understand what you mean? Is he going to think rockers like your old people in a rocking chair? And that's when we thought, oh my God, this guy's the promoter. And he's Midnight Rockers. They're going to think we're in rocking chairs. We're going to come out in the ring in rocking chairs, motorized rocking chairs, which might have been a good gimmick.
It probably works. You probably see it on WWE television now.
Pretty soon, I'm gonna have to do that. A couple more years in the business.
Of course, speaking of Vern, listener Marvel 78 wants to know, in general, how was Vern to work with? And he also says that he himself is that you do a very good impression of Vern. And do you care to share that?
What was the question again? What was it like to work for Vern?
Yeah.
It was, for Shawn and I, it was kind of difficult because, we were young, and we were like rebels, so that wasn't going to go with him. And secondly, he, Vern was set in his ways, and a lot of his ways had passed. And I mean, we didn't know everything. Of course, we were 2 years in the business at that time, 2.5 years. But I mean, we could see that some of the stuff he was wanting to do was outdated. And we tried to express that to him, and he'd really get upset. You young guys today, Jesus Christ. And, we just butted heads a lot. And I don't think, too, that Shawn was more outspoken as far as expressing the way he felt about things. And sometimes he would just come right out and say stuff that most of us think but won't say. And, I mean, that really, Vern couldn't stand us for that.
Right.
So it was a lot of that. I mean, I got, I had my issues where, just I enjoyed the party and chasing the girls, and maybe it was more than what they wanted as far as representing the company. So, I mean, they had to, I had heat through that, and Shawn just had the mouth. Had heat through that. So it was difficult, but all in all, I mean, it was still, for that time, it was the best thing for us. I mean, I appreciate Vern giving us that opportunity. I mean, it was, of course, part of the path that we had to take.
Mm-hmm. Our forums has a mystery man that claims to be a former WWF superstar, and he gave us one suggestion when we interview you, to ask you about the best ribs you've ever seen.
Who said this?
This is a mystery. He won't tell us who he is, but he claims that he's a former WWE superstar. If I was to guess, I'd say it's Axe, but I'm not accurate about that. That's my guess. But anyway, he said Axe from Demolition.
Axe?
Yes.
Of Demolition?
Yeah. That's what I think it is. That's a guess, though.
Was that Bill Eadie or was that Barry?
Bill Eadie. Bill Eadie.
Bill Eadie, okay.
Yes. His question.
What did he say to ask?
He said to ask you about your favorite ribs.
My favorite ribs?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I wonder if he meant that we played, or the ribs that have been played in the business, or...
I have no... He just said, if you want to get Marty talking, ask him about his favorite ribs.
Yeah, we did quite a bit of that. I mean, that was one of the fun things in the business. And it all started there with Vern Gagne's territory, where we had Curt Hennig, as you know, was Mr. Perfect. There was Buddy Rose, Playboy Buddy Rose, who was he was a rebel.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Snuka, Jimmy Superfly Snuka was in there at the time, and Jimmy's the nicest guy you'll ever meet. There's nothing anybody can say bad about him or they're straight out lying.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, he at the same time, Jimmy does his thing. It was like in fact, Vern labeled us the misfits of wrestling. Jesus Christ, I got all the misfits in the business. And he might have been right at that point. So we were ribbing was what we lived for. And Curt Hennig was one of the best. He was all he had to do was give us the idea, and we'd carry it out. Locks were big at that point in business. We used to when we wrestled in these high school gyms, we'd do the dressing rooms, of course, in the locker rooms. You got all the locks. Mm-hmm. From the kids there, and there's always going to be one or two locks that were left unlocked, and Curt showed us, of course, if you walk by and pull on all of them, one or two will come loose. So we'd always have 4, 5, 6 locks at every show we do, and somebody's bag always got locked to the roof or to somebody else's bag, or I mean, everything was just always getting locked up. It got to a point where Vern Gagne was getting phone calls from some of the places. I mean, they were locking up stuff that shouldn't be locked up. Let's leave it at that. And I tell you what, one of the funniest things, Curt Hennig, I believe, is the one that did this, and Scott Ledoux, who was a professional boxer, he fought 8 world champions, tough guy, and Leon Baby Bull White, as he was called at the time. Of course, that's Vader.
Right.
They're both badasses. And they somehow or another had a falling out one night, and I mean they were just going at it. And we were riding together. I was in the middle of, Scott Ledoux was on one side. I mean, you had the pro boxer, and Leon White, who was this tough guy who played for the Los Angeles Rams. He got drafted by the Rams before he blew. This All-American from the University of Colorado. Mm-hmm. On the other side, big ass 300-pound man and a boxing man, and I'm in the middle of the back seat of Curt Hennig and. In the front seat was Curt Hennig driving, and I think Shawn was the passenger. And we were in this Blazer truck, and I'm squashed behind these guys, and they're screaming at each other, calling each other names, saying, "Hey, every time you fall the damn top boxer, you got your ass knocked out." And Scott said, "Well, fuck you. You got drafted by the team there. When you went to pros, you couldn't do shit. You beat up everybody in college." And they just were going at each other, and my little ass was in the middle thinking I'm going to get killed. I was trying to be the peacemaker. Well, we got to the town, and the match is going, and I'd be damned if somehow by the end of that night, as we're packing up ready to go, Scott Ledoux and Leon White's bags, the handles are locked together. And they were nice bags, And I mean, they were, a lot of times the guys would just cut the damn handles and go if we couldn't find their lock cutter. But these guys had these nice bags and they weren't going to cut it. So it was funny. They each had to get one end of their handle and carry their bags together so they got back to Minneapolis. I mean, only Kurt could come up with something like that. but that was, some of the ribs. It was all kinds of stuff we used to do. It got to a point where Vern Gagne called a meeting and said, no more locks. The locks is ridiculous. Every time we wrestle at one of these high schools, I'm getting calls from the high schools. The guys are calling me up saying, somebody locked their bags up. The people are getting locks on their car handles and their hood ornaments. Everything is getting locks everywhere. There was a guy, and I forget his name. He was in that Pee Wee Herman movie. Remember the big, tall, giant guy?
Oh, sure.
What was his name?
El Gigante? No.
What was it?
El Gigante?
I mean, he's like a 7'4" kind of goofy guy, but he was in one of Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventures movie. That big, tall, giant guy was chasing him. He came through AWA and wrestled for a bit, and they were going to try to make him the Battle Royal King, and he was a bit goofy, and he had some strange ways.
Hello?
Make too many friends.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Sorry, it was my phone.
Oh.
Beeping out. But we were in a Battle Royal, wanted a Battle Royal to win, and I don't know how it happened. Some damn how during the Battle Royal, he got locked to the top rope. He had overalls on and like a little loop that went through him, and I'll be damned if they didn't lock the guy to the damn top rope during the Battle Royal.
Wow.
That was, and then they just chopped the hell out of him. For the next 5 minutes, he couldn't do nothing. He was locked to the rope. I forget how the hell they got him off. I mean, all the boys were in the back dressing room just dying laughing. He was left out there by himself, locked to the top rope, and the fans were all laughing at him. But that was after that. I think was when Vern called a meeting, saying that there was going to have to be no more locks. And he was tired of all these guys getting locked to the ropes and all this stuff, and he threatened to close the territory down. I mean, we were all, like I said, we were the misfits, and this was like the last place to go. And we were being told now that, okay, I'll shut this place down. Jesus Christ, you son of a bitch. And one more lock in this territory, and I'm shutting it down. That's it. Now this meeting's over. And he reached down to pick up his briefcase, and it was locked to the desk. Somehow during the damn meeting, and I'm pretty sure I know Pat Tanaka and Kurt Hennig were giggling their ass off during the meeting, so I'm sure it was one of them. We have a meeting about locks, and he gets his bag locked. You can imagine how mad he got. Punched the wall, cracked his hand, started screaming, ran out the room, and the boys just dying laughing. But there was a ton of ribs. That's one of the things that I don't know how they do anymore. If the guys up there in WWE cut up like that anymore, if they've toned down. But the ribs used to be some of the funnest part of the business. Besides actual being in the ring itself, which we all love. We all love the money, but the ribs, as long as they were done in where it was somebody wasn't getting their head shaved when they passed out, that was some of the ribs that weren't too good, which happened quite a bit on the overseas tours. We had 10-hour, 14-hour flight, and some of the guys would take whatever they needed to go to sleep, some Valiums or something, a couple beers and be knocked out, and they'd wake up at the other end and reach up and the hair would be falling all over the thing that the guys didn't shave their head bald.
Wow.
And, that was when the ribs were a bit much, but the ribs were really at that time they were a necessary part of the business. And it really broke the monotony of some of the stuff.
Back to the ring. I don't want to do this, but back to the ring. You guys, you and Shawn Michaels had a lot of matches with Doug Summers and Buddy Rose. Any memories of working with those two guys?
Yeah, those guys were. I mean, what people used to laugh at. I say. People used to laugh at them. They're our friends when we go home and whatever. Like, y'all can't beat them fat guys, fat shape guys. Of course, they didn't know the business. Talking about you can't beat them. But those guys, for the way their bodies were, they were great workers, and they were the best thing that could happen for Shawn and I at that time. I mean, we learned so much from them. I think anybody else that we'd have worked with instead of those would have made a big difference in how we progressed and came along in the business. They were absolutely perfect for us. And so fun to work with, so easy to work with. And there's nothing better than being able to make money and enjoy it while you're doing it. enjoy the crew that you're with, and we did about a year, I think about a year's worth straight with them, with all the different angles we've done. We had a couple blood matches that are still talked about today, and that was 15 years ago. You know, that Showboat Arena there in Las Vegas. I mean,
right.
we had some classics, but really enjoyed working with those guys.
Yeah, and that cage match is incredible.
Yeah, in fact, I just watched that. Somebody brought the video over the other day. I was just watching it. I hadn't seen that in a while.
Well, next, you then went to the WWF for a short stay. What would you say your initial opinions, say, towards Vince McMahon were?
When you mean the one when we went in for one day?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Our initial thing was just scared of him. I mean, we were just happy to be there and nervous at the same time. You know, I guess if you, for everybody's seen Shawn's shoot interviews, you know, you've heard the story. Really, what happened was more or less a misunderstanding with another guy that was there, which was Jesse Barr, and I think he was doing Jimmy Jack Funk at the time. It was the first night. It was like Shawn said pretty much in the interview. The first night out, we were told to mingle with the boys, even though we were scared to death. You know, trying to keep to ourselves because we were nervous. We were told that was the wrong thing to do. They'll think we're assholes. You know, thinking we're better than everybody else. We can't hang out with them, so we go hang out with them. And Jimmy Jack comes up and does the breaking of the glass over his head and challenging Shawn to do it. And Shawn eventually bit his glass. So I'll take it back. That's what Jimmy Jack was doing, was biting his glass. It was his little, you know, which isn't that big a deal, a bar trick if you've been around. But I mean, you know, he was saying, you know, come on, you guys do this, do this, do this. Shawn finally broke a little wine glass or champagne glass over his head to fit in. And basically escalated to we destroyed the place. And the real deal, all it was at the end of the night, the girl that Jimmy Jack wanted to leave with ended up leaving with me, and I didn't know that, you know, he was after her or whatever. I mean, I would have bowed out, you know, willfully if he could keep our, you know, freedom and peace there with everybody. But yeah, he got a little upset about that and went around and told everybody that were throwing glasses at the bartender, breaking up glasses. I mean, the story escalated from what you just heard to the time we did our first independent show after getting fired from that. We had somebody come up and say, "Hey, God, you guys are crazy, man. I heard y'all made up there in WWF, and y'all went out that night, and you threw all the glasses in the bartender, and he had to go to the hospital, and y'all took the couch, and y'all set it on fire, and then you threw it in the pool to put the fire out." And, you know, Shawn and I looked at each other and laughed, and said, "Yeah, we're crazy." We just went with it. I mean, hell, what the hell? You get blamed for it, might as well go all the way. But, yeah, it was... That was our first experience in there. I mean, we really didn't get to know Vince enough to form an opinion.
You just mentioned, obviously, your first independent show after, you know, your relatively short stay. But what else did you do in between your initial WWF one-day appearance and before returning in 1988?
I think we went back to Vern, or actually we left Vern to go there, so you know it was going to be he had to be licking his chops. Said, you suckers. But I think we went down to I can't remember what it was called, but it was the Fuller's group down there in Alabama, Birmingham, Southeastern. I can't remember what it was. But we went there. It was a little group out of Alabama, Birmingham, Alabama, and then we started working for Lawler up in Tennessee. And once we did that, then Vern wanted us to come back and work for him. So it was sort of like went through the smallest territory, then stepped up a little bit to Tennessee, and then back to AWA. And we were there for probably 6 months or 8 months before they were ready to sign us to a contract. A 2-year contract. It had no money on it, just bound us to them for 2 years. And so we gave Terry Garvin was who was doing with it at the time, a good friend of mine, because we knew him from the Kansas City area, Central States area, and called and told him what was going on. And he says, hold it, he made a phone call or whatever, called back, said, okay, you guys will give you another chance. Come in here and behave this time. So that was the year route to get back to it.
Was there any leftover heat from when you returned?
As far as with, Jimmy Jack you're talking about?
Yeah, was he still there? Yeah.
What's that?
Was
No,
he-
actually, he had, after we got the big thing happened where we got fired over that thing, he was when in Tennessee. He shortly after that. They were doing ridiculous tours back then. That's when they were doing the 40, 50 days straight every night on the road things, and which will absolutely wear you out, mentally fatigue the hell out of you to where you're not thinking right. And some of us start off that way, so you can imagine, going on a tour like that. And that's where Jimmy Jack was, man. He was just doing stuff that wasn't right. And I think like within 2 weeks of that incident with us, he did something where he was trying to mess with Haku, and I can't remember what Haku was going, his Tonga or what he was doing then, but it was Haku. And I guess Haku gave him one of those kicks and knocked his eyeball out of his head. And so once they looked into that, they saw that Jimmy Jack was the common factor there in all these problems. They got him out of there, I think. And he was coming through Tennessee, so we were, there was a build-up like, oh boy, here comes the guy that got y'all fired. What's going to happen when he comes through? And we were kind of wondering the same thing. What do we do about this? I mean, this guy is the reason we're down here in Tennessee. He kind of caused this whole thing. So, it was building up, and then I think it was supposed to be Memphis on a Monday night, wherever they run their show. I think it was Monday night was their bigger show. We were all interested in to see what was going to happen, and I think Jimmy Jack ended up not making that show and never even came into the territory. So nothing ended up happening.
Why was the team's name changed from Midnight Express to just the Rock? I mean, from the Midnight Rockers to the Rockers.
Midnight Rockers. Well, when we switched over, of course, Vern Gagne had the Midnight Rockers.
Oh.
I guess he had that copyrighted. And, Vince. The funny thing about it was we racked Shawn. They said, okay, well, we're going to have to change your names. Let us know if y'all got a name in mind. We said, no, we didn't think about it, but, give us a night that it was at TV. We had 2 TVs in a row, and the first night we went back, and we sat up all night thinking of names, writing it down on a sheet of paper. We must have come up with 100 names apiece, and just, that one's close. Nah, that sucks. Go ahead. We just couldn't get one we both really liked. Really, that's it. And when the next day Vince called us in, he goes, "Well, you guys got a name?" Like, well, we can't really get one that we really like yet. He's like, well, you guys, you're on tonight. We have to give you a name. And I don't know if it was Terry Taylor who was sitting in the office with us. He goes, well, when you guys need to call them for interviews, how do y'all call these 2 guys? They say, well, we just usually say, hey, we're the Rockers. He goes, that's it, the Rockers, that's your name. So we're like, holy shit. We racked our heads all night long and went through 1,000 names, and Vince comes up with it in 10 seconds. And that was it. We were the Rockers.
What memories do you have of your WrestleMania 5 match with the Twin Towers, the King and the Big Boss Man?
I, personally, that's one of the most embarrassing moments of my life. We went out and we were so nervous for the WrestleMania that we, I guess it's probably an excuse. We went out and got drunk as hell the night before, and well, man, that whole day was just hung over so bad. But it worked out because we couldn't worry about being nervous because we was hurting so bad. We were just laying around, our heads were just killing us. We were just wanting the day to hurry up and get over. And afterwards, we were like, man, we ought to get drunk every night before the big shows. We didn't even get nervous because we were hurting so bad. But nevertheless, when this was my big show, first time, big WrestleMania pay-per-view, all my family and friends are going to be watching, and here I'm coming out, and the moment comes, our music plays, and we come running out. It's about this particular setup was about a 25, 30-yard run from where you come out. That's they didn't have the ramps really back then.
Right.
But it was a long run to the ring. And Shawn always ran to the ring, and you had the long runway that for nobody knows what reason. At about halfway, so it's 30-yard run there. At 15 yards, there was just one step down. We don't know why. I didn't know it was there. And so I'm running behind Shawn. The people are screaming, music's playing. I'm thinking, yeah, man, all my friends are seeing, my family's seeing me. I'm on WrestleMania. I missed that step and fell down. And reaching and grabbing Shawn's right in front of me, I'm grabbing a hold of his trunks, and it's causing his trunks to pull down. His ass is hanging out. He's reaching back, smacking me, wondering why I'm down on the floor behind him. He's like, "Stop fucking around! Stop fucking around!" And I mean, I got up pretty quick, but I mean, that was, man, I just like, the first 2 minutes of that match, I was just thinking about my whole family and friends. I was just laughing their ass off. I can't even run through the ring without falling down. But Curt Hennig also almost took a bump on that, so I mean, I wasn't the only one. That was a ridiculous step there. Everybody agreed to that. I was just the only fool that fell.
Of course, you were on the Ultimate Warriors team at Survivor Series in 1989, working against the Heenan family, including, of course, Andre the Giant. You also worked with Andre a lot when he was with the Colossal.
Wait a minute, let me just say, that was the match. I think I'm the only person in history who got beat by Bobby Heenan. I think he dropped a knee and beat me on that. I remember that, and I caught a lot of hell for that. I love Bobby to death. I ain't saying nothing about him, but I mean, that was rough. I was the only person to ever get pinned by Bobby Heenan. But anyway, what your question was?
Of course, you also worked with Andre when he was in the Colossal Connection, teaming with the guy you mentioned a minute ago, Haku. Do you have any funny stories or whatnot to share about Andre, Haku, or Bobby?
Andre didn't really like Shawn and I, and I think the reason was when we first, like we said, we came in that first time, we got fired. Well, the next time we came in, after that year, we came in the next time, we kept to ourselves. We didn't say shit to anybody, and it's pretty much, thing that what do you call it? Tradition, not tradition, whatever you call it. Where the guys go around and shake hands, when you're in the dressing room, hey, how you doing, and introduce yourself when you're new or whatever. Shawn and I, we just kept to ourselves. We were scared to death. We weren't going to take, last time we buddied up with everybody, we got fired, so we were just keeping away from everybody. And Andre looked at it that we were a couple cocky asses that, thought we were better than everybody, and the two young little pretty boy assholes, I guess is how he looked at us. I think the big thing that we weren't going around and socializing so much with the guys, he misread. He took it as, we were a couple of cocky kids coming in there. And so Andre was the kind of person, once he may have formed an opinion of you, he really didn't change it. And he didn't like us, and then if he don't like you, he just don't talk to you. I mean, you can come up and go, we come up and try to stick our hand out, he wouldn't even look at us. You're just sticking your hand out there for nothing because he ain't going to shake it. He wouldn't look at us. He didn't talk to us. And it's a big old man not to have on your side. But, actually the first, we had to tag with him over there in England. I think 89 maybe or something, but it was one of the first big shows I did over there in London. And it was a 6-man tag with us and Andre, and I don't remember who we worked against. But, I mean, that was, I was scared to death. It's like, oh, man, he don't even talk to us. How are we going to go over this match? What are we going to do? And, they basically just, gave us our finish, and there wasn't a whole lot to really be talked about, It was kind of funny. Andre, that was when he was, his knees were really getting bad on him. And, like I said, he's a big man. Well, we walked out to the ring, and, Shawn and I usually run out. Well, we couldn't do that with Andre. They wanted us all to come out together. So, I mean, it was a slow walk. And, I mean, we felt really goofy. Here's these high-energy rocker guys, and they're taking about half steps, walking next to big-ass Andre. And I always liked Andre, too. I really hated that he didn't never speak to us. But, and I think, too, Shawn, and I'm not trying to jump on Shawn, but Shawn made a real bad impression in front of him, and he just, guilty by association. Evidently, we were both that way if Shawn was that way. I think he overheard Shawn, making some wise remarks, and like I told you earlier, Shawn generally speaks what most people think but won't say, which, sometimes it's better not to speak what you think, but he generally go ahead and speak it. But anyway, we're crawling there basically to the ring waiting for Andre, and then we get there. Now you get pictured, big ass 7'4" Andre, 450, 500 pounds, is in the middle of these two little rockers. At that time we were probably the two of the smallest guys on the crew, and there was one of us on each side of him, he stops and looks at the ring, and there's these stairs that he's got to climb up to get the ring, and they were a little steeper than the most stairs that we got to go up.
Right.
And, his knees were bad, like I said. And nobody mentioned that. Nobody thought about that until we were right there on the spot. We're like, and we looked at it, and Andre looked at us. And we're looking at each other like, oh, shit, now what? How are we going to get this big ass up there? Andre put his hands, each one of his hands, on top of our heads like we were damn crutches, and used us to step up, climb up from the thing. And, I mean, it took everything I had. I don't know how Shawn felt, but everything I had not to buckle up and fall down as he climbed up on us to get up in the ring. But and the match ended up going well, and that was the only time Andre ever said anything. He came back from the match and came up to me and said thank you. And that's about my biggest memory of with Andre.
Wow. Any memories of the Orient?
What was your question on that? That wasn't even a question, was it?
No, but
You asked me about him and Haku, didn't you?
Yeah, well, you pretty much answered the question in a roundabout way. It's great, yeah.
How about the Orient Express, both versions with Tanaka, Sato, and Paul Diamond?
Well, the question is, what about him?
Yeah, how did you enjoy working with them?
That's the best matches. Those guys right there.
Mm-hmm.
Sato. I think Sato and Tanaka were first.
Right.
Or maybe they weren't. I don't remember which one came in first. But Sato was easy to work with. Pat's probably the best I've ever worked with. Pat and Shawn are probably the two best guys I've ever worked with in the business.
Mm.
So it was just a pleasure. And when it was Paul and Pat, they had actually wrestled together quite a while before as Bad Company. And in fact, they were the ones that beat us for the belts before we went to WWF as Bad Company. They just meshed well together. They were a great team, and as Kato. Man, those were the easiest, best matches. I mean, we absolutely loved working with those guys. I forget how long. I think we went maybe 6 months. And when it was time for us to split off, I think all of us were sad. We didn't want to quit. All four of us wanted to keep working. In fact, one of the best matches we ever had was in Miami Arena. I think it was Royal
Rumble 91. Right.
Yeah, that was a match that was probably 20 minutes long, and it seemed like it was 1 minute. It was so enjoyable, and it was so consumed in the match. It was like time didn't exist. It was like it was time to do the finish, and we have to go home, guys. Let's go.
Hey, everybody out there, this is the franchise, Shane Douglas, telling you that when you want the lowdown, the best, the very bottom line of professional wrestling information, you got to listen right here. Interactive interview.
This is a Superfly Jimmy Snuka. Thank you for having me on your radio dial.
And we're here with part 2 of the Marty Jannetty interview. Marty, how you doing?
Good, brothers. Just rocking and rolling, strutting, strolling still. That's how we do it on the eastern coast.
Ah.
I forget where you guys are, but eastern coast.
I'm originally a New Jersey boy, so I'm East Coast my own time. First question we got for you. Yeah, that's a very wrestling area, too. First question we got for you is any memories of working with since the first half of the interview, now deceased, Hercules Hernandez and Paul Roma?
Yeah, there was, we worked with Power and Glory, what they call?
Yep.
And we had some good matches. In fact, I think we went over to SummerSlam, and Shawn had hurt his knee. I think he just bought a motorcycle and was riding it on a rainy day and come across railroad tracks and was about to slide across and put his leg down, tore his knee out there for a little bit. And I ended up having to go against him. I don't know if you guys remember that.
I do.
Yeah, he was, I think he was out there, but he had his knee taped up or whatever it was. And I ended up having to work with the two of them. They were good, man. Herc was the strong man of that group, and Paul was athletic, man. He was just, the only problem with Paul is he runs his mouth quite a bit, and if it wouldn't have been for that, and it was the spunky Italian part of it, he was just a loudmouth, and I have no problem with that. but he really got a lot of heat just being himself, but being loud about it. And I think really with Power and Glory, if Paul wouldn't have been so loud, coming like obnoxiously loud with his opinions, they might have done a lot more with him. But I mean, they were a pleasure to work with. I mean, both were very good.
Gwen would like to know the story behind the night you guys won the tag team titles from the Hart Foundation and the Comedy of Errors that happened in that match.
The Comedy of Errors?
Yeah, remember the top rope broke.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember that. In fact, I think if I remember correctly, I was standing on the outside when it broke and was like catching my breath, resting on the rope there, and it broke, which really upset me. And so I actually had to hold myself up. But it was for Saturday night. What was it? Saturday night main event? There was a tape thing. They were going to show either that Saturday or the coming Saturday after that. And the match was good, man. Everything went well. And we actually, ad-libbed well when the rope broke. Kind of covered it up. I thought went along with it. And you know what? It just kind of, it was like a reality type thing. The rope broke, so we did what we did. I think I may have told you guys. I don't know. Did we cover what really happened? What I think the reason, behind the belt switch actually, or didn't pull the belts back. Did I tell you guys that?
We didn't get that far, no.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
Don't make me retell the same story. I can do it. I'm afraid. Well, as it goes, we did win the belts that night. The 2 out of 3, we won 2 of the falls, and took the belts home. And actually, that was the first. I think with Shawn, that was the only time we had the belts. With me and the 1, 2, 3 kid, or 6, or X-Pac, or whatever, we had won the belts once, and from the Quebecers. Shawn and I's only little run with it was right out of that. And I think it was in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Like I said, tape for Saturday Night Main Event. We won the belts, and went home. Or we were on the road at the time, of course. We went to the next town as champions. Went into Fort Wayne, challengers. Left there the next day, champions. Had the belts. Went in to Corpus Christi was where we had to go the next day, and it was a connection flight. We flew into Dallas, got a connection to go to Corpus Christi. On that flight, are you sure? I didn't tell you guys this?
I'm pretty sure.
Are you sure? You're positive?
We're sure.
James?
I'm sure. I'm pretty sure.
All right. Okay. So we're on the flight from Dallas, taking off, and there's this one drunk-ass guy comes on the plane, last to come on, drunk as hell, raising hell, talking, and the plane was already half full. Mostly it was the wrestlers, and maybe 10 other folks outside of wrestling, outside WWF. And this old guy comes in. I say old guy, this older fella comes in and raising hell and obviously drunk as shit. And excuse my language, sorry, drunk, and he's so drunk he's looking at his boarding pass and he's like, well, where the hell am I supposed to sit? The stewards come up and come and sit him. Ended up having him sit right in front of Hercules, we were speaking of, and Paul Roma was right next to him too. I mean, Power and Glory we were just talking about. Well, he had to sit right next to those guys. And for whatever reasons, unknown, he started raising hell about it. He's like, I don't want to sit back here with these bunch of goddamn, excuse my language, I'm just going to say like he did. I don't want to sit back here with all these goddamn wrestlers, these sorry ass son of a bitch of hell. I don't want to sit. The plane was, like I said, about half empty or half full, according to which side you look at. And, for the most part, once you see the plane something before, you can move around, sit wherever you want. And but this guy, he didn't really think of that. He thought he had to sit actually in his seat and raise hell about having to sit there amongst all these goddamn wrestlers. So he was raising some kind of hell, and as usual, Shawn and I got the eye. We looked at each other and said, let's fix this. Let's work on this problem here. Are you guys sure I didn't tell you this?
Absolutely.
None of this sounds familiar yet?
1,000,000%.
So we take off, flight goes off, and he's still sitting there raising hell, talking shit about everybody and how the wrestlers suck, and he don't want to be sitting back there. And Shawn and I went back to the bathroom area of the plane, and I'm not going to, because this is going to get a little graphic. I'm just going to put it this way: somebody had to go to the bathroom. Somebody had to take a dump.
Uh-huh.
And they did it on a paper towel. And somebody else, well, I'll go ahead and say, I just happened to walk across and see the dump laying on the paper towel. And figured, okay, I'll pick this up and try to get rid of it, dispose of it. And so I picked it up and we're walking towards the front of the plane. And Shawn had the idea of, wait a minute, come here. He wanted it. He took it. He had the idea of dumping it on this guy who was raising all the hell. And so you picture the guy, you know how a plane is set up in a plane. So I go and sit in front of the guy that's sitting there, and I'm telling him, I'm acting like I'm his buddy. I'm like, you know what, man? Yeah, these wrestlers, me being one of the smaller guys,
right.
He didn't even think I was one of the wrestlers, which that made me feel good. He didn't figure I was one of the wrestlers. He was just like, another one of the passengers on the plane. I said, you know what, these wrestlers, they are a bunch of assholes. I don't like them. So he's like, yeah, man, you're all right, man. So he's raising, slapping, and giving me five and stuff, and leans forward, to talk to me, and somehow the dump, the turd, the crap, the shit, got dropped down in the back of his seat, right behind him, while he was leaning forward, slapping me five and all. So, I saw that, and I thought, what the heck, let me take a look behind this guy, see what really just happened. So I'm like, got in the seat behind him, and like, hey, dude, these guys, they are crap. So he's turning around now, and he's slapping me five, and he's just grinding the crap in his shirt, in the back of his, it's right down the back. I guess, at this point, all we know is somehow some mess just got dumped down the back of this guy's back on his seat. And then so even Paul Roman chimed in with, oh, you know what, guy, I'm sorry, brother, give me a five. So we got this guy turning left and right, just grinding that crap in the back of his shirt. and his back, and finally, as it goes, he finally gets up and decides he wants to stroll around the plane. Well, he stands up, takes a step forward, and there is a large, big piece of turd just grounded in to the middle of the back of his shirt, and the funniest part was a big hair, some long hair, circly hair was hanging out of it, and it was a hell of a sight. And he goes walking up, he's drunk as hell, goes staggered up the front of the plane, and each row of people he passes, they look up at him and they see this turd on his back with hair dangling out of it, and they start laughing. And he turns around looking at people like, well, why are these people laughing at me, kind of thing. And he keeps going up to the front of the plane, and each row of people he passes, they start laughing as he goes. and so he's not figuring it out. He's like, what the hell? He keeps looking back at all of them because he knows every time he passes people, they laugh. So as it goes, he went ahead and he turned around, went to the bathroom. Evidently, he found the turd on his back in the bathroom. He comes out of the bathroom, comes back to his seat. Now he's got his shirt off, rolled up in a ball. Comes out, and he's tattooed, man, from neck to, just like got a shirt of tattoos on. And it's a little prison tattoos, there's no color, kind of green-looking stuff. And he comes back to his seat, they got the shirt rolled, throws it in the seat, starts screaming, nobody shits on me. And by that time, the plane busts out laughing. And Paul Roman says, well, it looks like the WWF did, buddy. And with that, he had a fit. He started going crazy. Fuck y'all. Y'all have to excuse my language. Fuck y'all. Y'all a bunch of motherfuckers. Fuck y'all. Y'all know what? And the whole plane's laughing at him. And he's saying, I got me a 9mm underneath the plane, boys. When we land over here in Corpus Christi, I'm getting my gun out. I got 9 bullets. I'm going to kill me 9 wrestlers. With that, me and Shawn are looking at each other like, oh, shit. What the hell? Maybe we went a little too far here. And, the stewardess and the rest of the people on the plane, he was loud. He wasn't just whispering this to a couple rows around him. He was loud. So everybody on the plane is panicking, and he keeps repeating it, 9 bullets gonna kill me, 9 wrestlers. Now I think about it, I hope that guy ain't listening to this, and he's gonna figure out who to come shoot now. It was 8 years ago, 10 years ago. But yeah, he's God dang, will kill me, 9 wrestlers. And now we're all getting a little nervous, and because this guy, he looked the part. Then he started talking about, if y'all in my city now, as it turned out, I guess he was the leader of some biker gang down there, Corpus Christi. But nevertheless, as we didn't know that, all we know is he kept talking about 9 bullets, 9 wrestlers gonna die. And we landed in Corpus Christi, and we're getting off the plane, and the cops are there. I guess it's a federal offense to be making threats like that on the plane. And the cops stopped him, and they grabbed Paul Roma, of all folks, and asked him, so you guys want to press charges? And Paul's like, what do you mean press charges? And he's like, well, it's a federal offense, he's threatening, on the plane, whatever. Paul's like, you know what, if he's got a gun or whatever, he really has a gun loaded, yeah, sure, but otherwise he's just drunk talking shit. So they go downstairs to the baggage claim, pull the guy's shit out, and he had a damn gun. And so they arrested him. They arrested the guy, took him in, because he didn't claim the gun or whatever. I guess you're supposed to claim it or what, let him know. He ended up getting arrested, and as it turned out, he was like one of the top 10 or something other wanted in the U.S. He had escaped from prison or something other. And so now, and he was, like I said, the leader of some biker gang or whatever down there in Corpus Christi, which he kept telling us, you're in my city now, boys. WWF nothing. I'll show you guys. Yeah, so, we're all a little nervous, but we go to, so that we get out of the airport, we go home, the rooms, get everything ready to go wrestle that night, and George Animal Steel was the agent, and he pulled us all in the room and says, fellas, I don't know who did what, I just want to tell you. And I'm not trying to make fun of George. I love George. He's a good friend of mine. That's how he talks. But somebody did something on the plane today, and looks like this guy's some serious stuff. So there may be some snipers in the crowd tonight. So just when you hear a pop go off, hit the floor. And this was for real, man.
Hello?
I'm saying it jokingly, but that night we were all scared to damn death. We were thinking, oh shit. And as it turned out, nothing happened that night. We went through the thing. But of course, that got back to the office, and it was the next day. I personally got the call from Vincent Mann, who's, Marty, I think we're gonna wait a little bit. We've decided to make some changes, and we're not gonna give you all the belt. So, as the story has been told, it was because the ropes broke. And maybe that really is it, but you make your own judgment call what it really might have been. That's what I think it might have had something else to do with rather than just ropes.
What have you had heard from?
The Rockers had a reputation of always doing goofy stuff, and that was not something that was. That was a little much, I guess.
The story that Bret Hart.
What's that?
Yeah, the story Bret Hart tells about that, he thinks Jim Neidhart broke the thing because they were going to turn Bret single at that point. And he thinks Jim Neidhart was, they had no plans for him, so he thinks Neidhart, purposely untangled the rope somehow.
You think he might have went there and rigged the ropes before the match?
That's what Bret Hart says. He thinks he had something to do with it.
Probably son of a bitch. I never thought of that. That's far-fetched, but if Bret said it, I'm not. That is the execution, so I'm not going to argue with that.
Can I just say, I'm really enjoying these.
I would doubt that's what happened. I don't know. I don't know how you'll fix to rig the ropes to break. Of all things, I mean, if he didn't want to do it, he just figured he'd just knock one of us out. But I guess rigging the ropes is another way.
Can I just say, I'm really enjoying these. Really enjoying these impressions. So keep them coming. They're really good. Next question coming in from the forums was that apparently in a recent interview.
Where?
From our forum.
What? I'm sorry.
The forums, the chat forums, FreeStudyForums.com. Yeah. In a recent interview, Shawn Michaels gloated, saying that the two of you were main eventing at live events while Hulk Hogan was the opening match. The question from the forum.
Wait a minute, what? Hogan was opening the show and we were main eventing?
Mm-hmm.
Did I hear you right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people over here at the house and throwing a party without me. I might have heard you wrong right now because it's noisy over here. I'm over here at the Ghetto Mansion, and at the Ghetto Mansion parties get crazy, and I don't know if y'all can hear the background. There's a lot going on over here. So what I heard was Hogan was opening match, and Shawn and I were main event, which I don't remember that, but I didn't say it didn't happen.
But the question that was actually posed was, do you feel that the Rocker team was ever held back for any reason?
Yeah, I think we were held back for the simple reason that there was just too many girls involved. I mean, there were just girls night after night after night, and we were just middle of the card. And someone said if we were like main eventers, we would have moved on up there with the Pamela Andersons, which rumor has it Shawn went ahead and went there anyway. But the Pamela Andersons and the Janet Jacksons and the Jenna Jamesons, who wasn't there yet, but they were held back because we were being like scouted for porno movies and stuff, and they didn't want us to go that route. So we might have gotten held back a little bit.
In the same interview that apparently Shawn mentioned that comment about when you was at the main event and Hulk Hogan was opening. Shawn was...
I think he was actually a dark match. I don't even think he was a scheduled match. I think it was sort of like a tryout.
Well, it still makes sense, and it still looks good, doesn't it? But, apparently Shawn also said in that same interview that he claimed that you had spoken with WCW about jumping sides, but later admitted that you hadn't. He said this was part of the reason why you guys split up, but everybody's asking the question, why did you and Shawn really split?
I saw I saw like that shoot interview he did for RF.
Yeah.
Or what is it? RF. Yeah, I saw that where he was talking. Yeah, you know what? I was so surprised when I saw that whole video because Shawn, for the most part, he told things as they were. So I was really falling for the religion kick that he's falling into, or whatever. Because he was actually being honest about some things. But then again, as we got into it, there was a few things that he failed to tell, and then he stretched what really happened and twisted it and turned it to where it wasn't quite really the way it happened. And I guess that's okay. As a Christian, you can you just see things as the way you see them. Maybe that's the way he saw them. But and I'm not saying I'm not anti-religious. Don't bomb me here with that. Just saying that just some of the things he said on that weren't quite accurate. And that being one of them, one of them, he got into saying that I was talking with the WCW, which I actually had, and we had a problem. To sum it up real quick, without going into deep detail, which I have a real bad problem with that, going rattling off a 45-minute answer. Just, we were having problems. I don't say we were having problems. We were kind of concerned with our pay rate as compared to everyone else, and compared to how we were accepted by crowd response or whatever. Being popular or not, we were fairly popular, and we felt we worked pretty hard, and our pay rate was behind a lot of people. But that was an issue that we had addressed, and we went to shoot a commercial down in Atlanta for a cereal they were doing, Superstar cereal. I never did get to eat any of that, but anyway, we shot the commercial, and we had to sign this paperwork for a Screen Actor Guild thing. You had to be a member to say words or whatever on commercials. And we saw what everybody was getting. We were behind everybody else. If you guys remember, this is basically what Shawn said. Well, everything was pretty much true up to the point where he said that I went and said we want to quit. Told Vince, and that was without him knowing anything about it, or he had no knowledge of that. The truth of the matter was, we seen the paperwork, and Shawn had a fit. God damn it! And he had not been on the road at the time. That's around at that time where he hurt his knee, and he was out. And Shane Douglas was actually filling in for him, and so it was the Rockers' Shane Douglas version chapter. And like I said, they flew Shawn up from Tampa for that commercial, and he, he threw a fish to bitch, which I mean, I'm with him on that because we just had a meeting with Vince about our pay, and which Vince said, okay, everything you guys will, your pay scale will up. And we were getting less than anybody else, and shooting that commercial. And he had a fit and was like, that's it, fuck it, let's quit. Which I will admit I am. And at that time I was a goofball, rebel, whatever. I would do it. I said, like, don't say that you mean it, Shawn. I'll do it. I'll go call Vince, tell him. Yeah, fuck, let's do it. So I did. I remember going and getting the phone right there at the place we did the commercial, or shot the thing, and calling the office, WWF, and I think I got Pat Patterson, who I love Pat to death. Pat was like, "Hey, Marty, what's going on?" And I was like, needed to speak with Vince. And he said, "Oh, Marty, Vince is busy. Can I help you?" And I said, "Yeah, Shawn, I want to quit." He goes, "Oh shit, hold on, Marty, I'll get him." And Vince came on and told us, "Hey, we want to know exactly what is it we need to do to give our notice. I know it's got to be a 30-day written notice or whatever. What all do we need to do?" And I'm sorry, here I go in that long-ass detail again. Sorry. To sum it all up, so it amounted to Vince, and he was like, "Well, why don't you guys come in and talk about it?" In that Vince voice, and I was like, "No, we just want to finish up," because my thinking and Shawn's was, we just got through talking to you, and you just told us, we did the right thing, our pay scale was going up. And the first opportunity to make that happen, he gave us, they showed us otherwise. So what was there to talk about? So, I just said, no, we're done. We want to finish. And he was like, well, I hate to hear that. I wish, there was some other way. But I'll let you guys finish up the Survivor Series. And that was 3 weeks away. And at that time, it was like a 90-day. When you had 90. When we give you notice, you had 90 days before it was done, before you were through, and that gave them 90 days to beat you down, before you could go anywhere else, which I guess that's good business. They kill you off before you go to the next company. Well, Vince was letting us go in 3 weeks. I thought that was a blessing. In fact, I thanked him when he said, I'll let you guys finish up the Survivor Series. I was stunned. I was like, are you serious? He goes, well, sure. And I'm like, well, thank you. To me, that's a blessing. Because, that was the only thing we had. We're not going to win the Survivor Series. Big damn deal. So I hung up, and Shawn's like, what'd he say? I'm like, well, he's going to let us quit the Survivor Series. And Shawn's mouth dropped, and he goes, he's going to let us quit? I'm like, well, no, it's not a matter of letting. We were quitting. He got no choice. But he's letting us do it at Survivor Series. He's going to fucking let us quit? And I knew right there, I said, uh-oh. What the hell? I said, Shawn, do you understand what that means? That means we don't get beat on TV for the next 3 months. He's going to let us quit? So with that, we ended up finishing out that day with the commercial, whatever. Went home, and I get to Orlando, where I was living at the time, Shawn in Tampa at the time. I get home and check my answering machine. We'd been on the road. I'd been on the road. I'm sorry. They just flew Shawn in for that particular thing and then back out. I'd been on the road like 10, 15 days. So I got home checking on the messages I got. And the last one I got is he said, Marty, give me a call here at the office. And I give him a call. And he hits me with the, you don't have to quit. You're welcome to stay on Wrestle Singles type thing. And I was like, oh, no. I'm not going behind Shawn's back on this. No, there's no going to be none of that. Shawn and I made this decision together, and we're sticking with it. And he's like, well, that's kind of strange. Shawn just told me that this was all your idea. He had nothing to do with it. And with that, I couldn't even, I don't even know if I said goodbye or, what I said to them. I just remember hanging up and calling Shawn in Tampa. And he answered the phone, and I remember the first thing I was like, tell me it ain't true. Tell me it ain't true. He goes, what? I said, tell me it ain't true. You went and called Vince and told him that was all my shit? You had nothing to do with it? He was like, Marty, he goes, man, I thought about it on the flight home. He goes, man, you're single, I'm married. He goes, your house is paid off, I'm making payments. He goes, I can't afford to quit right now. And that's fine, but he made me out to be the asshole of that. Well, see, that's the part that Mr. Christian there forgets to tell how it really happened. That's how that really happened. And as far as the WCW and calling other folks, Yeah, actually, I did call, made a few calls. Well, actually, I made one call in particular asking, if we could come in there. And the word was they didn't like Shawn Michaels. They weren't interested in having him. He had a lot of heat with either Dusty Rhodes or Flair, one of them. But for the most part, they said, we're just not interested in having you guys. Shawn's got too much heat with some of the guys here. That I didn't. Now, I'll be honest, I didn't go back and tell Shawn, hey, they don't like you. I just went back and said, no, there's nothing happening there. And, of course, on his video, he says that I said, well, I didn't really call nobody. No, that's not the truth. And I never told him I never called anybody. I simply told them they weren't interested. I didn't actually come out and tell them that, they didn't like it. They didn't want him, too much heat with him. So that's the real story on that. How was that for a 90-minute answer?
Excellent.
Is anybody still awake? Hello?
We're still here.
Good morning, mister. Hey, how you guys doing? I'm all alone. I'm sorry, guys. I will keep it down to 4 billion words.
No, that's fine. I can tell you from the feedback from the first interview, the longer winded answers were the ones that got the best feedback. So it is fine. You talk. It is fine. We'll be here. It's fine. Go for it. But,
next question I got for you comes from Amanda from the forums, who yells at us all the time for not asking enough of her questions.
Amanda who?
Amanda from the forums. No, Amanda.
I know her.
Yeah, Amanda. Yeah, maybe.
Big boobs.
She's 25, so she could.
That's a different. Well, there could be several Amanda. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Amanda Hug and Kiss, maybe.
Sorry, Amanda. There's Amanda I know that was fit that description. Go ahead.
Well, everybody needs Amanda Hug and Kiss.
You know that.
Her question was something I asked you.
You know what? You changed, man.
he hasn't changed. He's just been more blatant.
Bro. It's okay, though, bro. It's all right.
I'm straight. I'm straight. Calm down. All right. She has the question that I asked you via email, and she wants to know, how did they gimmick the window in the barbershop incident?
James, I told you about that, right?
Yes, you did, via email, yes.
So we haven't said it on the interview yet?
Yes, we have not said this on the interview.
I mentioned it, and I know I told you, James, or emailed it, whatever. What the situation was where basically it was, the sugar glass window. And I know James was disappointed because he said, who'd you say did that?
Dawkins.
Huh?
Dawkins.
Yeah. It was funny, you told me, so don't tell me it was sugar glass and whatever. It was like, yeah, that's exactly what it's supposed to be. But what happened was it was supposed to be in a sugar glass window. They had 3 windows, and 2 of them sugar glass. And, in case we did one take, it didn't work out, redo it. They one real window. Went ahead and did the thing, as you know, and afterwards, I got a few cuts from that, a few on my head and a few on my stomach when I was laying across it. Well, afterwards, we went in the back, and the guys were like, oh, God, we're so happy you're okay. And these are production guys, yeah, why wouldn't I be? Y'all know this is set up, right? Well, yeah, but there was 2 sugar glass windows and 1 real one, and they weren't marked. So we took a guess on the real one, and the sugar glass ones, and we accidentally put the real one in, and you didn't get hurt too bad. So that's what happened on that. If that's what you were asking.
That is what I was asking.
Yeah, it was. They had 2 windows, sugar glass, 1 real one, but they didn't mark them. And the damn production guys, they're cool. I like the guys that were involved in that. They were just afraid that if they didn't go ahead and do it, they're afraid for their jobs. So they said, fuck it. Oh, excuse my language. They said, the hell with it. So we'll sacrifice MJ before we'll take our jobs. So we can't lose our jobs. And threw the window in there. I understand. And it worked out because there was no real bad injuries. And that actually looked pretty good, I guess. I still hear about it today, from kids that are 7 years old. And it happened not 15, but 12 years ago. I'm getting old. I think.
Mr. Diesel would like to know.
Experience isn't helping me a bit. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You know they say with age comes wisdom. I'm finding out sometimes with age comes alone. That's what I'm finding out.
I was going to throw in a really bad cliche there, but I can't remember it. But that's probably a good thing, though. It's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
It's probably an English thing as well, so you probably wouldn't know what he means, but... Don't worry. Anyway, listener Beezer would like to know why were you off TV for such a long time before coming back to feud with Shawn?
After the barbershop?
Yes.
Oh, man, I gotta be honest. Do I have to tell the truth?
Yeah.
Please, don't make me tell the truth. I'm gonna do it if I have to.
You have to.
I tell you what, I'm gonna. Well, I better not say that. Okay, I'll be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Do I have to?
You have to.
Right after we did the barbershop window,
Uh-huh.
right, you know, in a way, it almost worked good because I mean, I was out for 6 months after that happened, and so the appearance was, or it should have, you know, I would have thought it would have been, went through the barbershop window, and then I'm out for 6 months. But in reality, I was only supposed to be out like 3 or 4 weeks. But as Macho Man would say, what? You know, let me tell you what really happened. I had a problem down there in Tampa, and let me see how I can shorten this down to just 2 days, without leaving out vital details. Basically, I was in the club down there in Tampa with a girl 20 years old. She was a stripper from the dollhouse right next door to the club I was working at. Well, they knew that, but they knew who I was. In fact, Frankie Lancaster, who wrestles as Thumper, was in the independent world. If any of y'all know him,
I do.
he was the bouncer or the doorman that night. And he's like, "Yeah, Marty, come on in, but you know, we know she's 20 years old. Don't let her drink. Don't let her nothing happen." Well, we got in the club, and of course, I had a drink or two, nice cold beverages of my choice, you know. And she ended up getting in an argument with this girl who was trying to flirt with me, which was, back then, that wasn't so rare. Now it's impossible to see that happen. But she got in an argument. The girl's name, hell, I won't say her last name. I guess I say Angela. Angela, did I say Angela?
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it. Angela. You're okay.
So anyway, Angela was the girl's name, and you know what? If she gets to hear this and her family and friends, they're all going to laugh their ass off. Sorry about that. Anyway, so she got in an argument with a girl, Colleen. Did I say that?
Yeah,
You just did.
And Colleen and Angela were mouthing off, and Angela was, you know, just being an ass. And so they knew she was underage, and she was causing a ruckus, so police come in and grab her and started taking her out. And this is a crowded nightclub at, what the hell was it called? Yucatan Liquor Stand in Tampa, Florida. Did I say that?
I don't know about that one. Yeah, we'll let it. Yeah.
I'll take it back then. I didn't say that. But yeah, it was popping. It was happening that night too. It was crowded as hell. And so they took us out, and on the way out, Angela's like grabbing me. She's 20 years old. You know, pretty little girl, man, 5 foot. You know, big old boobies and small waist. You know, she had like a little dress. This was years ago. I hate to say this, but this was back when that neon color stuff was in. You know, the bright ass neon looking greens and yellows and whatever the heck else it was in that terry cloth dress stuff. You know, she's wearing one of those short skirts and just like a top, what do you call it, strapless top. Big old boobs sticking out there. Just nice, petite looking little girl, and so, you know, I'm going out with her. She's panicking. She's looking at me with her little puppy dog eyes like, don't leave me, come on, go with me. And she's snatching on me, grabbing me, and I wasn't going to leave her. Hell, I still hadn't been with her yet. That sounded bad. Hold on. that sounded bad. I didn't mean it like that. But, so we were going out. We got out in the front of the place, and the officer, I call him officer now, but the sorry-ass bastard at the time, asked her for ID, which, you know, she's underage. She didn't have one to show him. And so she was faking and acting like she was reaching in her purse to get an ID that she didn't have. But at the same time, she was turning her back to the officer, the sorry-ass bastard. And he was he kept trying to look around to see why she was turning her back. And she kept turning, and he kept looking around. And finally, she kicked him in the shin. And with that, he picked her up, and you guys know what a back-to-belly suplex, or belly-to-back, which is it? Belly-to-back suplex, you know, where your belly is to their back, you're behind them, arms around the waist, lift, twist, turn, slam. Or as the Irish Sheik would say, big butty slam. But you guys know what a belly-to-back, you know what that is, right?
Yeah, man.
Leave your Sheik alone, man. Sheik's cool. Ever tell you guys about the story when he got busted for, when Vince got him for the, when he tested positive on the coke? Ever tell y'all that story?
No. Who are we talking about?
No, remind me to tell y'all that one, because it's one of the funniest stories out there. Most of the guys in the industry know it, but I have to retell it.
Who?
To finish this one, damn. To finish this one, so they what the hell was I saying? Oh yeah, so he bellied back her to the ground. Now you got to picture this little petite 5 foot, little petite girl, pretty girl, big titties, just soft looking pretty girl. He slams her down on the road in front of the Yucatan stand place and grabs her by the back of her head. I'm standing there, right there watching this. And he grabs her by the head of her head, and it bounces her head, like grabs her and pulls her head off the road and bounces it on the road. Basically, he lost his temper. He flipped out. And he grabbed her head, bounced it off the road, and he pulled her head up to do it again. And I reached up and grabbed, underhooked his arm. And I reacted like probably anybody would. I mean, it was. It caught me off. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And plus, it was my date.
Right.
And, so I grabbed him and snatched him up. Just pulled him up basically to his feet. And as soon as I did, I realized, oh shit, I just grabbed a cop. And I put my hands in the air, and from there it was a mess because he wanted to beat the shit out of me, but somehow or another he wasn't able to, and so that pissed him off more. And it ended up, as it all ended up, got arrested, went to do a pat down sort of thing, and the officer was telling me, he goes, you're such an asshole. I know who you are. My kids got posters of you in their bedroom, and I can't believe you're out here. I ain't gonna tell my kids, how you are. You're acting out here. And I was like, sir, you're just throwing the girl around on the ground over there, and it happens to be my date. And he was like, oh, officer protection. I don't know what she had in the then I had a weapon in there. And I'm thinking, well, that's why you had to bounce her head off the road? Oh, don't you be a wise ass. See, that's what I'm talking about. I can't believe you're acting this way. I may let you go. I don't know yet. And so he does a little pat down thing, and as he's patting down, reaches inside the shirt pocket, coat pocket, pulls out a little packet of Coke, like a little thing that you would have, I don't know, a couple grams of Coke in, whatever. I'm going to act like I don't know shit about that. But back in my day, I did party, but this particular night, he pulls it out, and he holds up, he goes, oh, so this is what it's all about. Okay. And my first reaction, I was looking at it, I was like, oh, shit, because I didn't know I had it. I thought it was something maybe I left in there from another time. And first reaction was, damn, I didn't do that last time. Second reaction was like, oh, no. Oh, my God. And I'm panting. I'm like, oh, shit. There's a whole bunch of people out in front of the club staring at me, watching this whole scene. There he is holding up a little Coke packet and looking at me, and I'm standing there, with my thumb in my ass going, I don't know what it is. And the girl, Angela, spoke right up. She goes, it's not his, it's mine. So I stuck it in there when y'all were bringing about which she did. She was actually, as it turns out, she was in the place, I guess, so I don't know, when she's in there trying to sell Coke, a little package of Coke or whatever, and I had no idea. And she was trying to stuff it on me as they were bringing her out so she wouldn't get caught with it. So she told that, she admitted that, and that was in the police report and in court, so I didn't end up getting charged with that. But I ended up getting charged with, what do they call it, obstruction of justice with violence from where I snatched the cop up off of her. And I guess that was a felony charge. And as we went to court and did all the stuff that you do, plea bargains, all that crap, it ended up I got 6 months house arrest. So the answer to that question you asked yesterday was house arrest for 6 months. That was why I was gone for so long.
Wow.
I'm sorry. Next question, I promise to keep it under 20 minutes.
No, one second. You mentioned the story just a second ago that you wanted to tell about... you just said a story a second ago, and I didn't quite catch what it was about, but you said you wanted to tell that one.
The Irish Sheik.
Was it
Sheik? Okay.
The one where the Sheik tested positive?
Yes.
Oh, for everybody that don't know that one, your drug testing back in the day, and in fact, I think if y'all remember way back at one time, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and Iron Sheik were doing their little program where they were wrestling against each other, and it was pretty hot. It was a hot angle at the time, and USA versus Iraq, whatever the heck it was, and they got pulled over on the Jersey Pikeway up there, or Expressway, whatever it was, Parkway, not Pikeway, what the hell? And they were, riding together. There they were with a big angle against each other, riding together, and, when they did the search, they found some coke, and, that made the USA Today, the headline news, and everything else. So with that, then started, he started drug testing. I mean, I don't know if that was the only reason he started, but, that had a lot to do with it. And so I guess a little while later, everybody, usually on TV days, which everybody's there for TV taping, when they're going to drug test you, you line up outside the hallway, about 100 people, and they give you a little cup, and you go in there and you pee in it, and you give it back to them, and they tell you in a couple of days, you're okay. Well, we did that. I guess Sheik got called into Vince's office a few days after that, or whatever, and, Vince was, Sheik tested, got your test results back from the steroids and cocaine or whatever. I think they were just testing for steroids and cocaine at the time. And Sheik, Sheiky is like, oh, okay. And Vince is like, Sheik tested positive for cocaine. And Sheik looks at Vince and goes, oh, excellent. And Vince is like, no, that's not good. Positive means that you have cocaine in your system. And Sheik is like, oh, wait a minute. Oh. And I guess, stutters and stumbles, and he's like, well, Vince, let me ask you, what about Jacob the Snake? Did Jacob the Snake, did he test positive? And Vince is like, no. He says, what about Don Morocco? Did Don Morocco, did he test positive? He's like, no. He goes, well, and Sheik used to call JYD, he's called JBD for whatever reason. He goes, what about JBD? Did JBD, he tested positive? And Vince is like, no. He goes, Sheik's like, well, I don't understand. They all were with me.
Oh.
He did not mean to rat him out. He was being just Sheik. It's just how he is, man.
Wow.
That's a known, though. I didn't know you guys hadn't heard that one.
I had heard about the traffic incident, but I didn't hear about that part of it, the last part of it.
Yeah, he was... Sheik's special, man. He's a special dude. I love him to death, bro. Did I ever tell you about the story in Iowa with the Sheik? With the girl that I was trying to hang out with and ask him to watch out for her?
I don't think so.
Did I tell y'all that one?
I don't think so.
No, you definitely did.
Oh, let me tell y'all.
Okay.
We were in Iowa, Des Moines, Iowa, and after the show and going back to the hotel to party like we always do, but we did back then. And down in the lounge at the hotel that all the guys are staying at, each one of these times you got your regular, what do you call it, girlfriend? Free sound. And, and a couple almost girlfriends. You have your regulars, There's other names for them. I don't know what those names are. But, so we're in Des Moines, and there's one of my almost girl. It wasn't my girlfriend from Des Moines, it was my almost girlfriend. And I mean, she was nice, she looked good, but the only problem is we've been together a few times, and there was no mystery to it. And I know that sounds bad, but you got to remember when you're on the road 250 days out of the year, there's just no time for building a relationship. It's on the run. You got to get it and go. In Georgia, there was a saying, it was gut 'em and go. I don't know what the hell that means. I'm just telling you what they say. But, we're in Des Moines, and this girl shows up. Like I said, very nice girl, but there was a couple of new prospects. And we're all the time scouting talent, as they call it. And there was some new talent in the area. And it was on to check them out, but at the same time, I didn't want my almost girl, I didn't want to lose her, So, this Sheik was sitting over there with about 300 beers in front of him. He hadn't drank a damn one sip out of each one of the glasses instead of finishing one. And that's just how he is, And so, I went over and said, Sheik, lady, said, do you do me a favor? Anything for you, Marty. And so I said, keep an eye on let's see the girl name. Jenna? We go with, no, wait, not Jenna. Because that's close to home. How about, well, it don't matter. Anyway, just so it is rock, it don't matter. Well, what we did was the sheet, watch this girl for me. I'm going to go over here and see about recruiting. And as it turns out, like, end of the night, I ended up, I don't know how this happened. I had to clear the cobwebs, and all of a sudden I'm in a room with this new girl I'd never met before. And I was pretty happy because she looked good. And things were going well until there was a knock at the door. And at the hotel, in the room, I go open the door and there's police out there. And they're asking for, I can't pronounce his name, something Casabucky. That's his real name. They're asking for James Casabucky. And I'm like, well, no, he's not here. Why? What's up? They're like, oh, well, we need to find him. We just need to find him. And there's a whole hallway of police, and, so I'm like, I know exactly where he's at. So as soon as they walk away, I go running down to his room. Knock on the door, and he opens the door. Excuse me, before I get to the door, as I run down to his room, there's like a big open window in the front, and I look at it, there's like, you got all the lights and the sirens, not sirens, but just lights flashing, and an ambulance out there. And I'm looking out the big old picture window, and only stretcher about the sheet, I was going down to his room to find out why the cops were going door to door trying to find him in the hotel. And I looked out this big picture window in front of the hotel, like a little area, where the elevator thing is and all. And going out on the gurney, there's a girl that I'd left him with. She's on the stretcher. And I'm thinking, holy shit, what is now? Sheik is crazy, but what the hell has happened? And, I run down to knock on his door. He opens the door, and he has this look on his face, and I'm like, Sheik, what the hell? He says, Marty, come in, please. So I come in the room, and I'm like, Sheik, there's cops looking everywhere for you. What the hell's going on? That girl's on the stretcher out there. He's like, Marty, let me tell you, Marty, what happened. And so I was like, yeah, please do, Sheik. He says, Marty, I take girl, like you asked me, I watch out for you. I take girl and buy clothes, so I bring her up to room, Marty. And we come up to room, and Marty, I give her pills. She says she wasn't feeling good. I give her pain pills. She said she needed a drink. I give her drink. She said she was tired. I give her Coke. And Marty, I give her everything from A to Z. And then all of a sudden, Marty, she says, where's Marty? I said, Marty, no disrespect, but I said, fuck Marty. Did Marty give you pills? Did Marty give you wine? Did Marty give you Coke? Hell no. And then Marty, I give her short clothesline. And I'm thinking, what the hell's a short clothesline, Sheik? And he's like, kidding on Marty, right here, just like this. And I'm like, she's on the stretcher out there. He goes, Marty, she moved. She not know how to work.
My God.
I don't know whatever happened. I think he ended up having to pay a lot of money in jail, whatever. But that's my boy, man. He said, I meant no disrespect, Marty, but I said, fuck Marty. All right, brother.
I want him on the show now.
Yeah, I think I should call him next.
Who, Sheik?
Yeah.
Well, that's the fun. He doesn't mean to be. I mean, he's just being real, and it's just absolutely the funniest ever. Everything about him's funny. He's a great guy, super guy. Short clothesline. She moves. I can understand that. He's a great guy, super guy.
All right. You have to go, or is this one more question, or what?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty close. Hit me up with a couple more things.
All right. You mentioned to me via email about the match of the year candidate that you and Shawn had. First of all, memories of that match.
The match of the year. I'm not even sure which one it was. There was two of them that were on Monday Night Raw. The first one was the one where I came out of the crowd. And he was like in the ring with Vince in the Manhattan Center.
Right.
Making a challenge to anybody, anywhere, all that kind of thing. And, I was dressed up, had a hood on, sunglasses, come walking out of the crowd. And, Shawn was like, oh, look at this punk right here. You think she has a shot? Go sit down, fella. And if you guys remember, that's when we pulled off the hood and everything. It was me, and we did the match right there. That was where I beat him for the Intercontinental Championship. that was a good match, but I'm not sure if that was the one or if it was the one that was a 2 out of 3 fall with Kevin Nash in his corner, or Diesel at the time. You know, it was in his corner, and that was a Monday Night Raw also. But to me, both matches were great. I know the first one was the one that was for the Intercontinental Championship. The things that stand out in my mind on that one was the fact that I think the whole purpose that even took place was, if you guys remember the Royal Rumble match, that January, with Shawn and I, and Sherry Martel was involved. That was, you know, of course, where she was, what side was she going to take? Was she going to go with Marty? Was she going to go with Shawn? Because Shawn had hit her with a mirror, but he was supposed to be trying to hit me, or he pulled her. I hit her with a mirror, but he pulled her in front. That kind of, if y'all remember that.
I remember.
Yeah. That particular match was a so-so match, and we've been going around the loop putting matches together, him and I working, trying to get it fine-tuned for the Royal Rumble. Like, and I'm sure they still do that, but that's what they did back at the time. You run around several weeks ahead of time getting the match down, so the pay-per-view, you know, you had it down great. And we had, like, the night before that match, which that match was in Sacramento, California. The night before, Denver, Colorado, we had probably the best match I've ever had in my entire life. And I've been, you know, just April, it's coming up with 20 years. That one match stands out because from opening bells, we hit the ring, till 20 minutes later, it was nonstop, and the crowd was into it. It was like a connection that we made, and it was just, it was magic. It was a flow. It was just, it's hard to explain. Nothing else existed in the world. It was just that match, and everything was perfect. It was nothing I've ever experienced before. And at the 15-minute mark, right about there, for you guys to know about the Denver being high elevation, the air a little thinner, you get winded easy, and you feel like you're suffocating when you get winded. And we'd never had that problem. We always thought that was, you know, a big myth. That was the first night we started feeling it, because I mean we had a blazing pace going. And I remember us looking at each other, thinking, you know, oh shit, what do we do, man? Because, you know, we still got a bit to go. We were kind of, another thing was just communication without saying anything. Shawn and I were so connected, and that particular night, I mean, we could just look at each other and tell by the look what was being said. Never had to say a word. It was something that, like I said, I've never experienced before. But the last 5 minutes of that match, you know, you hear about running on adrenaline. Well, we were going on adrenaline the first 15 minutes. The last 5 minutes was purely feeding off the 15, 17,000 people there that were screaming and hollering. We were simply feeding off their energy that pulled us through the last 5 minutes of that. And I remember us going in the back and just both collapsing to the floor and just laying there for quite a while. And that was the best match I've ever, you know, if I had one single match, that would be the best match I've ever had in my life. Well, of course, the agents always report that back to the WWF office, or WWE, back then WWF office. And, you know, I think Blackjack Lanza, for y'all to know who that is, he was calling it in that night and saying, oh, my God, this was the best one, this is the match, you know, tomorrow they're going to steal the show, they're going to blow it away, blah, blah, blah. And then at the Rumble, they actually came up and inserted Sherry into what we had just gotten down perfect. They decided that day that they wanted Sherry to be, you know, to come out to the ringside in the middle of the match and play like, okay, which way is she going? Is she for Shawn? Is she for Marty? It just threw the entire rhythm off of of everything we just set up. And there was, you know, several spots we had to set up. So it wasn't what we'd been doing. And that at the end of that show, Vince, you know, called Shawn and I aside, and you know, I was expecting to hear like, hey, good match, like we'd heard our whole time there. So we're walking up, and he's like, I was very disappointed. I expected you guys to steal the show on this one, and quite frankly, that just wasn't even close. And that kind of caught me off. I mean, I know it wasn't, you know, what we'd been doing, but I didn't realize it was that bad. And so as it turned out, the next day we had a TV taken, and so that was the Rumble. The next day I think it was the Raw, and Vince called me in and released me. He said, in light of everything that happened yesterday, to give you your notice, or not notice, I'm sorry, give you a release. And, I was stunned. I'd only come back from that 6 months house arrest that we were just talking about. That was a screw job I just got in my life. I'd only been back 2 or 3 months from that. Now Vince was pulling me in and telling me he was letting me go because of what he thought was a bad match. So I'm like, I'm blown away. I'm thinking, what? You're going to let me go consider a bad match? You're firing somebody over a bad match. You need to go in the hallway out there and fire most everybody you got then. And he was like, well, it doesn't matter what you say now. The decision's been made. And I was pleading with him, like, what's happening? Where's this coming from? How you letting me go because you didn't like the match? This ain't. And he was like, well, my understanding, they said that you had alcohol in your breath yesterday, and you might have been drunk. Which, to that, I'm like, please, test me right now. I mean, it doesn't matter what you say. The decision's been made. It's out of my hands. Well, it's out of your hands. Who's above you? And he said, there's nothing you can say. Decision's been made. And that was it. He stuck with that and had to go. And I guess a couple of months went by, me sitting on my ass at home in Orlando, Florida, scratching my ass and head at the same time, trying to figure out what just really happened. And Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect, called me up one day. And he's like, Marty, he said, I got your job back for you. And like, what the hell are you talking about? Kurt was, Kurt's one of the big rivers, I love him to death. We always practical joke everybody and each other. And I'm like, yeah, that's funny, Kurt. He said, no, really, I got your job back for you. And so I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? And he's like, you're never going to believe this. Kurt and Vince, I guess, were, they got along real well. I guess Vince had him up to his house a few times and whatever. And as Kurt told me, he was riding in the limo one night with Vince, and Vince told him the story, how Shawn told him, Shawn told Vince, that I was drunk during that match at the Rumble, and he had to lead me around by the nose. And with that, Kurt told him, says, I told him that, and this is something I didn't know, but, Kurt did, and Kurt told me, he goes, you know what, it was Shawn who was screwed up. In fact, he passed out the night before in the restaurant, and they had to call 911 to have the emergency, whatever you call it, unit come up and revive him. And from what I understand, and this is all true, I mean, it's not being, none of this made up. And evidently, I guess the events looked into it, found out that was true, by calling me whatever there in Sacramento. And I guess when he found out that was true or whatever, he was very upset with Shawn. And this is the way I understand it. And so he had me come back in and beat Shawn. That's what that thing was at the Manhattan Center when I come out of the crowd. It was basically to get back at Shawn. And it was punishment to Shawn, if you will, for lying to Vince about the thing. And to me, I'm thinking, how, that's punishment. But you asked me what stood out about that match. What stood out about it was the way Shawn acted about that whole deal. When Vince called us that day, do you remember back when they did interviews where you had the split screen?
Right.
And one of the guys would be in their hometown TV area, and on the other side, you have the guy, your opponent from his hometown.
Right.
But in reality, we were right there in the same room, with the two screens. It was always funny because Kurt would always reach across and grab the guy. It was next to him. It looked like he reached across from San Antonio to Minneapolis. But at that place where we're doing the thing, Vince pulled us aside and like, we'll drop the belt to Marty's night. And, this was new. I mean, they kept it quiet, and they sprung it out, at the last minute because they were trying to keep, I guess, what's his name, Meltzer there, and everybody with the scoop sheets. They were trying to keep it quiet, so nobody could get it out. And so I'll never forget the look on Shawn's face when Vince said that. I mean, his mouth dropped. He just looked like, you looked like a deer in damn headlights. He just staring. And, he was just like, after Vince told us, he's like, can I talk to you over here? Can I talk to you? And Vince was like, you would talk to me right here? And he didn't want to say it in front of me or whatever it was he wanted to talk with Vince. And he goes like, well, how long is, am I going to get the belt back? And Vince was like, eventually, yes, we haven't found it out, but eventually you will. And it just kind of caught me as like, oh my God, wrestling is not a shoot, or at least not what we do. Here he was all upset the fact he had dropped the belt, and then he made the comment. I remember him walking off. Scott Hall was you know, him and Scott were always friends, and Kevin Nash, with Diesel, Kevin Nash, and Lex Luger was there. I forget who else. Davey Boy was there, Bridge Boy, Davey. I just remember some of the guys that were standing around when Shawn walked off, and remember him saying to Scott, "How am I going to explain this to my family?" I don't know. I didn't know what. I heard that, and I wasn't sure I heard that. How are you going to explain that to your family? That you're, you know, dropping the belt to your old partner? I mean, I didn't understand that. But that stood out. I mean, I really couldn't understand. Was I supposed to be offended? How to feel about that? I mean, what the hell? How am I explaining that to my family that I got to lose the belt tonight? And he had to call the Nasty Boys. I remember him saying, "I got to call the Nasty Boys before they see it and let them know," because the Nasty Boys, if y'all remember them,
right?
They were good for. We all lived together at one time in Tennessee, where we were all struggling trying to make it. You know, and Shawn, we all kept up with each other. And, you know, Shawn they were down in WCW. And it was like he had to call them and make sure he let them know before they actually watched it that night live, what was going on, and explain it to them. So that's what I remember out of that match. Again, a 40-minute answer. I'm out of breath.
I'm just, I'm out of breath listening to it. It's great.
Well, brothers, I'm going to have to wrap it up, but we can finish it another time if you don't want to finish it, you know, go on with it. But I got to get going here.
Excellent.
There's 3 hookers outside the door. They aren't waiting no more, and I've already paid for them, so I need to get rolling.
Well, go have fun.
All right. Definitely stay in touch. Call me. Tell all my... oh, by the way, y'all have heard about the new Millennium Rockers, right?
Oh, no. Tell us quickly.
We make those new Millennium Rock Stars. With MJ in the house, otherwise known as Marty Jannetty, and Rod the Bod Foys. Y'all heard?
I've heard. Tell us more.
They are the tag team of the future. A little bit better than what the Rockers were. Of course, you know, they should be 10 years later, whatever it is. But, you know, with Rod, I talked about Rod in the first part of this interview. We've since, you know, talked about our tagging up, and the new Millennium Rockers are ready to rock and roll, strut and stroll, unlike any rocker team before us. You know, you had the Rockers, the original Rockers, me and, what's that guy's name? Shawn Michaels.
Shawn Michaels, yeah.
And then, you know, we had the new Rockers being Al Snow.
No. Right.
And now you got the new Millennium Rock Stars. It's going to blow everybody out of the water. So just keep your eyes out for them. Rod the Bod Boys with his sidekick, fairly legal, and MJ in the house, otherwise known as Marty Jannetty. Yours truly. So, brothers, keep your eyes out.